Hey guys, today you're going to learn about foodborne illnesses. You're going to learn what they are, how to prevent them, and how they're spread. A foodborne illness is an illness caused by food contaminated with bacteria, viruses, parasites, and toxins. It can spread through contaminated food or water. It's self-treatable, self-diagnosable. Lab tests are not required because you can diagnose it yourself, and it's short term, so it just runs through your system. But sometimes there are very severe cases and you have to go to the doctor for it.
Hi everyone, my name is Ashley. Previously you have learned about the effects of a foodborne illness and the diseases that could cause from unsafe cooking. So now you're wondering, how am I going to keep anyone safe when I'm cooking? So now I'm going to teach you how to prevent all of that. First, you need to control time and temperature. If the food is not cooked, served, or stored in the right temperature, it will cause many pathogens in your food to grow, which would cause many of the foodborne illnesses that Lee discussed. The solution is to control the temperature. You could use a biometallic thermometer to measure in what degree should the food be cooked at, or baked, or reheated, cooled, freeze. There are some foods that can't stay in room temperature for so long, for like over 4 hours, such as milk and dairy products, meat, seafood like fish, shellfish, and crustaceans, baked potatoes, tofu and other soy proteins, sliced fruits and vegetables, shell eggs, poultry, sprouts or sprouted seeds, and untreated garlic and oil mixtures. Second thing you can prevent is hygiene. You should have good hygiene when you're cooking. Before you cook, you need to cover any cuts or wounds, such as if you have a cut in your finger, you could use a bandage to cover it up, or a finger cot, which is a glove for your finger. Speaking of gloves, you always have to wear gloves whenever you're serving ready-to-eat foods like sandwiches, cakes, or maybe you're cooking with meat, poultry, and seafood. For example, if you're making a hamburger and you have some spices to put in, always use gloves to mix it in. And once you're done, you always have to remove it when you're changing a new task. Don't ever touch any part of your body, like you're touching your hair or fixing your glasses or touching your face. Don't touch things outside the kitchen, but whenever you do, go out of the kitchen, and once you go back in, always wash your hands to prevent any cross-contamination. Don't wear dirty clothing or short clothes. Don't cough or sneeze in your hand, but whenever you can't control your coughing and sneezing, always cough and sneeze by your shoulder so the germs won't come into the food. Don't spit in the kitchen. And for girls, don't wear any long fingernails, painted fingernails, and fake fingernails, because the nails might chip or the gunk in your nails might fall into the food. What you have to wear is, you have to wear a hair restraint, so like maybe if you want to wear a chef hat or something, wear a clean hat, tie your hair, wear a hairnet, anything to prevent your hair from falling into the food. Wear clean clothing, and especially you have to wear long pants when you're cooking. Wear an apron to cover your clothes, and don't wear jewelry when you're cooking, because if you're wearing a ring, it might fall into the food, or a chain might dangle into the food, or your earring and piercings might fall into the food also. Third thing is, have good cleaning and sanitizing. When you're working on a work surface, like for example, if I'm making a pizza and kneading the dough, you always have to clean your work surface before and after you're preparing the food. To prevent cross-contamination, third thing is you have to prevent cross-contamination. Some pathogens can transfer from one object to another. For example, if you're using a cutting board to cut chicken and using the same cutting board to to cut vegetables, which isn't a good idea to use. So the solution is you need to use separate utensils, separate cutting boards when you're using chicken or any kind of meat and vegetables. And another thing is when you're serving food and plating, it's best to use tongs or gloves when placing food on a plate or giving food, especially in restaurants. Restaurants also use ice scoops or tongs to collect ice instead of scooping it with their bare hands or with the glass so the glass won't chip and prevent any cross-contamination. When you place any silverware into the table, don't use it where the people would eat it, but use it in the handle. Hold the dishes in the bottom or in the edge, but not where the food is closely touching, because it's probably where people might move around the food to eat it.
I'm going to talk about foodborne illnesses example, their symptom, and 3 types of contaminant. So some foodborne diseases are E. coli, hepatitis A, and norovirus infection. Their symptom can be vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal cramp, and jaundice. Contaminant came from a variety of places. Most contamination happen accidentally. So like the food handler don't wash their hand after using the restroom. They can touch or be in contact with the people who have the disease, and they can allow pre-made food to touch raw meat and seafood. There are 3 types of contaminant: biological, chemical, and physical. Biological contaminant caused by a microorganism like bacteria, viruses, parasites, and fungi. The most bacteria that cause foodborne illnesses are Salmonella typhi, and it lives only in humans. It's carried by the people who have typhoid fever. The second one is Salmonella, non-typhoidal Salmonella, and it's carried by farm animal, and you can find it in meat, dairy product, and eggs. The last one is Shigella, and is found in the people who have the disease, and mostly like by hand, like hand-in-hand contact. The food that use hand, like salad, tuna, tomato, and french fry. The second type of microorganism are viruses. The most virus that cause foodborne illnesses is hepatitis A, and is found in feces of people who are infected with it. And the second one is norovirus, and is commonly linked with. The third type of microorganism that cause foodborne disease is parasite, and parasite require a host to live and reproduce, and is found in seafood, wild game, and food processes. The fourth type of microorganism that cause foodborne illnesses is fungi, and you can find it in mushroom, moldy bread, or yeast. The second type of contaminant is chemical, and it happens when you store food in the wrong way. So you can use like sanitizer, polishes, and cleaner, and they can be at risk of chemical contaminant because some of them can be left in your utensil and you may consume them. There's type of kitchenware that like at risk of chemical contaminant, and there are copper, zinc, and some paint pottery material. Some symptoms can be depend on the chemical that you consume. Most chemical contaminants happen within a minute, and vomiting and diarrhea are the most typical one. And the last type of contaminant are physical, And physical contaminant happen when a contaminated object touch your food. So like your fingernail that is unclean, that is not clean, band-aid, jewelry, and it can be, you can like use that hand and touch your food, and that food can be contaminated. And some symptoms can be mild to fatal injuries are possible. Dental damage, bleeding and pain are maybe the most outward symptom, because physical contaminant are like natural object can be left in your food, so like bone in the fillet.
We're gonna play a mini, kind of like a difference kind of thing, where you're trying to spot what is a good example of clean attire and a bad example for attire when you're cooking. So let's show it.
Okay. So
Close up for Lee.
So this is my person.
And here's mine. Comment down below in either in our discussion board, in the thread, or on YouTube to see which one is the good and bad attire when you're cooking. And so that wraps up the video.
Yes, and so now you know 3 types of contaminant and foodborne diseases.
And also from Alex.
Foodborne illness can be very dangerous, and so you have to be careful on when you're cooking and you're eating the food so you don't get sick.
And we also talked about how to prevent cross-contamination so you won't get anyone sick. Like, have you ever seen any people from Worst Cooks in America? Don't be like those. Okay, now everyone, thank you for watching, and I hope you learned something.